I'm just waiting for our good old friend Tony Meredith to join us this evening on the business of property. Tony, I'm just about to add you on. Where are you, Tony? Share broadcast. Jin, how you doing there? Give me a little bit of a wave. Tony, here you go. I'm working on my lighting here, so hopefully you're making dinner. Multitasking. Very good. Hi, Tony. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing awesome.
That's
How are
fabulous.
you?
Very, very well. I have to say, I don't know, I talk about the full moon and that's coming up tomorrow. It's meant to be a very, very strong energy and I'm feeling really energetic. So if I'm sort of buzzing and reverberating, it's the full moon. I don't know if you take
Okay, fair
I don't know
enough.
if you take much.
You, no, I
No,
don't. No, take zero notice in that sort of stuff, but that's okay. That's fine. And you look a whole lot brighter to me tonight.
it's the full moon. See?
It's just a full moon. It's just all
It's
shining
it's
down on
it's
you,
not
right?
that I have numerous lights around me.
Right.
No, it's the full moon. No, it's all
Okay.
very, very good, Tony. I'm pumped. I feel like I haven't spoken to you for a while. Goodness.
We haven't. No, we
For a
haven't.
whole
No,
week.
it's interesting, right? For a whole week, yeah. And so for those people who think that Cheryl and I get together beforehand, we work out what we're saying. Guess
No,
what?
no.
We do none of
There's
it.
no
We
script.
do none
There's
of it.
no
It's
script, yes. Totally
there's no
unscripted,
script.
unfiltered, and that's
And
it.
and in fact, I prefer it that way, to be
Yeah,
honest. So we tried that a little while ago, and Cheryl said, "Oh, what should I ask?" You know what? Surprise me. Just surprise me.
excellent,
That's fine.
excellent. I do.
All right. So
I'm
so surprise me,
I
Cheryl.
will surprise you. We did sort of and a few things sort of came up this week and after we spoke
Right.
around the idea of this, not idea, but the concept of limiting limiting beliefs, the things that were
Yes.
what I was noticing, and one came through very, very clearly today. Someone messaged me and she said, "Oh, I have this fear of doing this thing. I like
Mm,
to find out how I get over it." And it really is
mm,
about what are the things inside, because we talked about our goals, we've talked about, and we did sort of touch on, the fears, but there are deeper things inside of us that
mm,
do sort of hold us back. And sometimes we might not even be
mm,
aware of that. So, how do
mm.
we, and this is what I understand as limiting beliefs. How do
Yeah,
we,
correct.
one, identify that we have a limiting belief, and
Mm,
then two,
mm.
get to the source of it to try to shake it up and sort of, in a way, banish any evil energy we have in it?
So sure. So, yeah, sure. So from an identification of limiting beliefs, it's all around being conscious around the way in which you're behaving, right? And so
Mm,
a lot of our limiting beliefs are actually on our subconscious, and it's happening without us even knowing.
mm,
So it might be a fear of something, and you mightn't realize that you've got a fear of something until some time has passed. So procrastination is a great one where procrastination is actually fear bubbling to the surface.
yeah.
And so you might say, I'm procrastinating, but actually there's something a whole lot deeper at play here.
Mm,
And so it's about recognizing and reflecting and going, interesting. So during the day, or maybe yesterday, I didn't behave or didn't act the way that I wanted to. And
mm,
so
mm.
it's about trying to understand when it is that I feel that I'm procrastinating. So that's firstly and
Oh,
foremost about
excuse me.
identifying.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right. Is
excuse me.
that the full moon as well? Is it?
That's the full moon. Everything's happening.
Right, it's amazing this full moon, and so it's all about reflecting. So I'm a big one that at the end of the day, reflect on your day. The
Mm,
more that you can elevate your thoughts, right? So you be conscious with your thoughts, then you have a choice, right? So at least if you
yeah.
know something, you have a choice. When you're constantly operating on a subconscious, then you don't have a choice.
Mm,
Things are happening on autopilot. You don't even realize it's happening on autopilot until it's too late.
mm,
So you want to constantly try and elevate your consciousness. That's the first piece in around understand. So you do that every day, right? And understand and recognize times when it's like, you know what, I was a bit fearful at that moment. You know what, I did have some doubt during that.
mm.
and you want to write it down. Some people don't want to write stuff down. I'm a big writer down, so like write this stuff down, and then try and ask yourself, well, I wonder why that was the case.
Yeah.
So when you add the word because, right? So it's like, I was fearful in that moment because. What's the next part of the sentence? And if you keep asking because, so if you go back to our very first session when we talked about our why, and we talked about asking, for what purpose or why, and get deep, 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 no different. Keep asking because. I was fearful at that particular time because, and you start to get deeper and you go, you know what? That fear is bubbling up for this reason, for that reason. It might have been something that's happened historically. I mean, fears come from experiences, education, news, parents, teachers, friends. These are where all your fears come from, because we're only born with two. So as humans, we're born with two fears. So a fear of falling and a fear of loud noises, and that's it. Every other fear that we have learnt that fear, right? And so with fear, there's two types of fear. There's logical fear, and that is our million-year-old brain saying to us, trying to keep us safe, right? So, for example, if there's a car hurtling towards us, or we're being chased by a bear or whatever, then you want your fear mechanism to kick in. Or it's designed to keep you safe, right? But where it's gone a bit skew-if and off track is a logical fear, and that is a fear of standing in front of people, publicly speaking, a fear of asking that boy or girl out, a fear of speaking to real estate agents, a fear of having a failure in a development deal, a fear of being rejected or criticised by other people. These are logical fears. Are we in danger? Nope, we're not in danger. But we've told ourselves this story over and over and over again, and it's limiting us, it's holding us back.
And you could say
so recognize
illogical,
that
illogical, or that's logical.
Yeah, so logical with an L.
Yes.
So logical with an L is danger, right? So that is logical. That is, I'm in a water and there's a shark about to eat me. You want your fear to kick in. Does that make sense? Or a bear's going to chase me, or there's a car hurtling towards me. That's logical with an L. Illogical, illogical is public speaking, speaking to real estate agents, fear of failure, fear of criticism from other people, so on and so forth. That's illogical, because we've just made that up. We're not in danger, right? We aren't in danger by speaking to real estate. Well, at least I hope we're not in danger by speaking to real estate agents.
Who knows?
Right?
They're dangerous people.
Who knows, right? But these are stories that we've told ourselves.
Yes.
And what we're fearful of is I believe that the number one fear we have is the fear of criticism from other people. Yeah. So there's fear of failure and a fear of a whole range of other things, but it's fear of criticism from other people. So why are we fearful when we speak to real estate agents? Because we're fearful that they're going to criticize us, or they're going to say something that we don't have the answer to, or or they're going to judge us. That's why we're fearful. We're perfectly safe. We're not in danger, right? It's just the story that we're telling ourselves.
But someone might come
and
up.
So
sorry, I was just gonna, on that illogical fear, and you might be a situation where someone says, I'm not ready to work on my own, or say if they're looking to leave their jobs or whatever it might be, and that fear is that they might not be able to support their families, and for them that's a logical fear. And that's a logical, or how would that be phrased? And that how do you explain to someone? How do you explain to someone that is illogical?
Okay, so here's the thing. So you become what you think about, right? And I am convinced of this, and I'll take this to my grave. You become what you think about, and I haven't made this up. This has been around for hundreds of years. So if you think that you're going to fail at something, if you think that you're not going to be able to provide for your family, and you're fearful of that happening, well, it's potentially going to paralyze you, and potentially it's going to come true. And so Henry Ford said, if you think you can and you think you can't, you're right. Either way, you're right. So if you think you can do it, you're right. And if you think you can't do it, you're right. So in regards to, hey, I'm fearful of not being able to provide for my family, what about flipping that around and saying, how do I make that happen? How do I make this happen?
Sure.
How do I support my family and ensure they have abundance?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's changing the language and having a resourceful mindset to say, I'm making this happen. Because if I sit here and think about the fact that, if I don't do this deal, I'm not going to be able to feed my family, it's going to paralyze me. And I'm going to be thinking about that the whole time, as opposed to going, you know what? How do I move forward? What are the things that I need to do to be successful? How do I make a fist of this? How do I? It's very, very different thinking. And I'm going to say, leave the fear aside. Yep.
So what's a really helpful, even quick tool when that you can feel that fear bubbling up for someone? What would you say sort of to a client to be able to say, do you tell them, zip, zip, don't even zip?
No, not at all. So fear is physiologically the same as excitement. So whenever I go and speak in front of people, right, I get some fear, I get some butterflies in my belly. And so I sit there and I tell myself I'm excited because fear and excitement are the same. So you have a shortness of breath, you have increased heart rate, you get a bit sweaty under the arms and all that sort of stuff. Fear and excitement are exactly the same. So if you sit there and you say to yourself, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, and you do that enough, you start to change your belief around it, right? And then you go and do it. So then you go and do it, and you're reflecting, you know what? And how often do we do this? We get all worked up about something, whether it be fearful, whether it be anxious, whatever, and then we go and do it, and we look back and we go, that wasn't that bad. What was I worried about? How often does that happen? It happens all the time. All the time, because we get ourselves worked up. So that's one. So that could be one, is to tell yourself that you're actually excited. The other is to, and this is why we've done our weeks in the order that we have, because it's all about lining up to what it is that you want. So you have to ask yourself, this next thing that I have to do, which may be fearful, is it going to take me closer to or further away from my goal? If it's going to take me closer to my goal, then I've got two choices. Either A, I do it and I push through the fear, or B, I don't do it, and at which point my goal wasn't that big enough in the first place. And I'm walking away from my goal. And so you'll remember back, Cheryl, that I use the analogy of the gate. And so this is the gate, and you want to open the gate and move on to the next gate. But if you let fear beat you and you don't get through that gate, your goal's still down here, but you're stuck way back here. That means that you're not going to get closer to your goal. And so that's the importance of understanding your why, understanding your what, and we've done it very deliberately in a nice methodical fashion for people to go back to, whenever I have a challenging moment, it's like, why am I doing this and what am I going for?
What are some of the common limiting beliefs that you've come across through your many clients?
Well, so fear of failure, fear of criticism from other people, just general fears, doubt, lack of self-worth. Whole range of them. Right? All sorts of different beliefs. And a lot of it comes down to the language that we use, right? And so I'll give you an example in property. It's like there's no deals. No deals.
Yes.
It's a limiting belief. Because if you tell yourself enough there's no deals, guess what? There's none. But if you say to yourself, there's deals out there, I haven't found mine yet. See how it's different? The language is very different. And so you're saying to yourself, it's out there. I just haven't looked hard enough yet. I haven't found it yet. I haven't stuck with this long enough yet, but it's out there. And I know it's out there. And I know that today I'm one day closer to finding it.